The Oathsworn is the newest F2P weapon that has come to Genshin Impact, and honestly, I believe it's a must-have F2P weapon, almost at the same level as a catch. So let's go ahead and talk about it, and for this video, we'll be going over the top 5 catalysts that can utilize this weapon at the time of this recording. Real quick, if you enjoy guides, reviews, and showcases, you should go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out for the YouTube algorithm, and if you enjoy live content, follow my Twitch because I usually go live when I film these types of videos, and in case you want to get a behind the scenes look. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. To start off this video, I want to tell you why I think this weapon is really good. Because to me, the way I see it, that's a high base attack for the 4-star weapon category. And at Refinement 5, it basically has 2 main stats. What I like about this weapon is that it gives you 48 energy recharge for 10 seconds, which is important for your rotations in order to get your burst up for your Catalyst user. At the time of this recording, the Abyss is starting to consist of single target boss enemies. And if you're like me, I hate that stupid physical hypostasis. I'm not even going to say its name right because it doesn't deserve for me to call its name. Because that boss generates close to nothing of energy for your team. So it really gives you an ER check for your team in terms of getting some smooth rotations down with your elemental skills and elemental bursts. So the way I see it, with this catalyst, it helps you give ER to your DPS and future catalyst users. Most of the time for DPS characters, you heavily invest in crit rate and crit damage, but we forget that energy recharge is important as well, especially for single target enemies. And so this list is heavily influenced by how well I found our rotations in Spiral Abyss, especially from Chamber 1 with that stupid mechanical array. So let's head into our number 5. I put Kokomi in number 5 because even though Kokomi is not a DPS, the weapon lets Kokomi have a high base attack and you can try to focus your subsets into HP. The real downfall is that Kokomi's elemental skill only has a 20-second cooldown, and the way her rotations work is that you try to extend her elemental skill using her elemental burst, so you're not going to really take advantage of that 10-second window of that extra energy recharge. And at R5, the prototype Ember is just way better weapon for Kokomi because we're able to get that extra energy onto her burst for free rather than trying to get particles and try to fit into that 10-second window. With that being said, the prototype Ember is way better, and the only reason why she's even on the list is because it just looks good on her, honestly. So if you're one of those aesthetics over damage, then you know this weapon's perfect for Kokomi. Not a bad option, especially if you don't have access to the prototype Ember because I don't know, you don't have any billets and you're unlucky, but it's definitely okay. At number 4, I have Ningguang. I think Ningguang can also take advantage of that 10-second window with her elemental skill, especially if you have like C2 or above. Every time her Jade screen shatters, she generates geo elemental particles, and sometimes depending on the enemy, you cast her elemental skill and it breaks right away. And so those particles coming into Ningguang, you get the most value out of them because of that extra energy recharge we get from the boost. And even against a single target boss enemy, we were still able to have Ningguang's elementals burst up 100% of the time. And I guess if you really want, you could use Emblem of Seared Fate on Ningguang to help you boost up her elemental burst damage, but personally I didn't find that effective. I was still better off with like a 2-piece Archaic Petra, a 2-piece attack percent artifact set. So honestly, I really enjoyed using the Oathsworn on Ningguang. It's a really effective catalyst for you to use on your DPS Ningguang, and she's a character that can take advantage of that extra energy recharge. Number 3 is Yangfei. Yangfei can really take advantage of this 10-second window of extra energy recharge after initiating her elemental burst. Most of her elemental particles she generates comes from herself whenever she uses her elemental skill in conjunction with charge attacks with her elemental burst. She will gladly accept all those particles with an extra boost to her ER, and since her elemental skill only has a 9-second cooldown, you're able to reset the 10-second proc without ever running it out. Theoretically, 100% uptime with this energy recharge buff on Yangfei. And I think out of all the free-to-play options for Yangfei, this is the best one for her. Now, if you have 5-star catalysts like the Lost Prayer or the Skyward Atlas, and of course those will be better, but as far as free to play, definitely the best one you can put on Yangfei is the Oathsworn. So some of you are thinking, well, isn't Dodo Coattails better for Yangfei as a free to play, especially if I have it already? Normally I would agree, but in like just because of this Spiral Abyss, how there's single target boss enemies that don't generate like any energy for your team, on average when I was using Dodo Coattails compared to the Oathsworn I got Yangfei's burst more up with the Oathsworn versus the Dodo Coattails, which turns Yangfei's damage more with the Oathsworn because we're able to have her burst up more. And that's the key difference. And that's why that extra energy recharge with the weapon is important and vital for your rotations, especially if you're like using Yangfei for like a main DPS. For our number 2 star, we have the one and only Yamiko. We all know Yamiko has a big energy recharge issue because of her really expensive burst. And because of that, it forces you to get energy recharge off of her substats, because if you've seen my guide or honestly anyone else's guides, they always recommend put energy recharge onto Yamiko, because if not, you're not going to get her elemental burst up efficiently. But the good thing about the Oathsworn Eye is that it gives you that cushion to just have the energy recharge along with the weapon instead of using it into her substats. And what's good about Yamiko using his weapon is that the 10 seconds will start after you cast her last elemental skill, her last little totem. And that's good because you're going to switch off of Yamiko, do your rotations with your other characters. If you have a battery like Fischl or Raiden, those extra particles she's absorbing is going to get really enhanced by that little 10-second window from this weapon. And then, well, once your totems are up, you're going to recast them again with Yamiko, which means you can basically have 100% uptime with this extra energy recharge buff. And especially if you decided to pull Yamiko and you have her C0, really helps her out with her rotations. And if you really want to run a nuke type of Yamiko, that extra energy recharge is going to help her with the Emblem of Severed Fate 4-piece extra burst damage. So not a bad option, especially if you're going for like a nuke type of Yamiko. Moving on to our number 1 Catalyst user. Pretty sure y'all saw this coming. It has to be Mona. Out of all the free-to-play Catalysts that are available in Genshin Impact right now, I am officially declaring it as a Mona main. This is the best free-to-play weapon you can put on Mona. If you don't get it right now and you're a Mona player, you're really gonna miss out on it, especially if you run Emblem of Severed Fate Mona. It's gonna help you out tremendously with your damage. That extra 48% is awesome. Having an attack percent main stat and a high base attack, it just all works well together. If you don't know, her energy recharge does transfer into part of her hydro damage bonus. And here's a neat little trick that's probably useless, but you know, if you wanna just do it, you can do it for fun. You can cancel her elemental skill and you can still get the buff from the weapon. See how it's 266 and I didn't cast elemental skill? It really doesn't come up in your rotations, but you know, it's something if you want to try to implement it for whatever reason. And because you're getting extra energy recharge from your weapon, it allows you to run an attack percent sand piece onto your Mona rather than an energy recharge one. Maybe you got a question like, well, Hydrosam, what if I run an attack percent sand piece rather than a hydro damage bonus one, and then an ER sand piece, and then we're getting ER from the weapon? So why can't I just do that to take advantage of it the most? Let's go ahead and see a little comparison, and let me try the best that I can with my artifacts to see the difference between those two builds. So the build with attack percent and hydro damage bonus, it has 28% less crit damage than the other build, and we were able to get 53,408 in the first build, and in the second build we were able to get 55,460. That's really a difference of only like 3 point something percent. So it's honestly pretty much the same thing, except I think still the attack percent with hydro damage bonus is still better than the other one. So ideally, if I were you, I would still run higher damage bonus and attack percent sans piece on my Mona based on these two builds. Now, if you're not able to get enough energy recharge in your subsets like me, maybe the attack percent and ER sans piece would be a better build for you. But the point is, there's really not that much of a huge difference between these two builds. Either way, you're still going to be doing good with Mona with this weapon. Overall, I still think this weapon is the best F2P weapon you can get from Mona. Whether it's DPS or support Mona or 100% uptime Mona, this weapon can do it all for this character. The most diverse, versatile weapon you can put on Mona. And that is why I chose Mona as my number 1 for this list. If you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting my content. I would appreciate if you like, subscribe, and that would help out boost up the video. This is my first ever like top 5 videos, so let me know if you enjoyed it in the comments down below. And if you did enjoy it, if there's any way I can improve it, let me know as well, please guys. Follow the Twitch if you're interested in live content. Also, I'm just gonna end it with just saying, I know because this weapon has a main set of attack percent that you are heavily encouraged to get crit damage and crit rate off of your substats from your artifacts. I know it can be a lot to ask, but if you're able to do it and you're able to get a good build and use this weapon, it can really help out your DPS Catalyst users or any Catalyst users that you was on the list. I know I didn't mention some Catalyst users like Barbara or Lisa, but if you want to make them DPS, I didn't test them, but I'm pretty sure you can probably do it. Once again, thank you so much for watching the video, guys. I love you all so much, and remember, wife over meta, and I'll see you all in the next video.